the Sprout Fund.
She used her expertise at the Western Pennsylvania Conservancy, and I used my expertise working with the Parks Conservancy, and we joined up and did a ride around Pittsburgh's parks, just stopping and looking at plants and focusing on edible plants and medicinal plants, and just trying to have a dialogue with as many people as were interested about plants in the urban environment, and using bicycles as a means to go around and explore them.
Having sessions to learn how to fix your bike, doing rides based on political themes, things like that. It's great, and I think it's one of the more important things that Bike Pittsburgh does, I believe, because it makes it, like I said, more visible and gives people a chance to meet one another and realize how many of them there are, and I hate to use the corporate term, but networking and that sort of thing.
Community is a really ambiguous word that gets, I think, misused a lot. When we're saying community, we're meaning the neighborhood we're situated in, and also the communities that use our shop.
Like right now, we're dealing with a situation where there's a lot more demand than we can actually satisfy in the community. And if you work with kids, that'll happen real fast. So to keep in mind that you can't, like if you have 30 people in the shop and you have 2 mechanics, who's really getting help?
The more people that are being vocal about the needs of bicyclists, whether they want to use it for recreation or transportation or what, is just going to really bring this out into the community dialogue more. So that's really positive.
It was really a process of kids coming to us, mostly like youth in the neighborhood coming to us and being like, can you help me fix my flat? Can you help me with this? Like, do y'all have a wheel? And so it was really response-based. Like, we set up our shop just basically to meet the needs of the community in a way that was like, yeah, you need a wheel, we have a wheel.
I can think of 6 different groups easily while I was sitting here who all want different things, and they have different needs, they have different things to give us, we have different things to give them.
What does this project do, and what can I do to become part of it?
And I could run down a few of them. We have kids who want a bike, and their needs are all pretty similar, to be honest. Some of them want their current bike fixed, some of them want a new bike, but they're all kind of looking for a ride. We have adults who want to volunteer, either because they want to give back to the community or because they want to come into the social environment and hang around.
Freeride, it seems, has done a whole lot to introduce people, because, you know, like I said, if you're a student, if you're a young person and you want to start using a bike as a transportation tool, first obstacle is money.
There's Freeride, who also is very good at trying to get the average person into riding inexpensively.
My name's Jessica McPherson. I work with the Freeride Project here in Pittsburgh. It began when a friend of ours started picking up bikes off the side of the road where people throw them away, and thinking this really shouldn't be thrown away. And then, you know, from that person to a number of other people that just had enthusiasm about bicycles, that loved riding bikes, that loved the role that bikes played in their lives, and wanted to share that, in addition to, you know, seeing a need for recycling. And a need, you know, most of the people that started this off didn't have the resources to like go and pay hundreds of dollars at a bike shop to get a bike, or to get a bike, you know, get bike parts or repairs done. Didn't start off with a lot of mechanical knowledge, but we learned as we went. You know, we got some repair manuals as well as you know, tools and parts.
Set up on springs so that when you turn the wheel
and it hits any place that it's out of true, you're going to hear it.
Okay.
And I
heard more than one place. It's so funny. It would be like one.
Well, at first I was just volunteering to fix my bike up, and then I just liked the ideal and just decided to just stick with it and help other people work on their bikes and just help them down here.
I've been riding a bike for a while, and just the opportunity to have a shop, because I don't have all the tools, and just to have the tools, you know, be accessible.
Rather than classify it as a nonprofit, I would say that it's a community project. That's really our intention with it, is to be a resource assembled by and for the people who use it.
And this is actually my first time here, and we're buying my wife a bike and fixing another bike.
I've been coming to Free Ride for a few weeks. I am just visiting Pittsburgh. I live in California, but I'm here for a little while, and I wanted a bicycle. I was looking at Bike Pittsburgh's website or something like that, and I came across Free Ride, and I was excited by it, and so I came on down and picked out a bike and got the bike right away, and I've been volunteering ever since, every single day.
You know, we have a volunteer base that staffs Free Ride and keeps it running of people that are familiar with bicycles. And you know, we have an open shop that the community, anyone in the community can come into, and they can obtain a bicycle, or they can repair their own bicycle if it's like sitting in the basement and broken, and maybe they could ride it if they could fix it.
This is a great situation as far as being able to have a place where you can come and buy a bike, work on your bike, and what I like about it is just like you have this great mix of people.
When you set up a resource that's an unconventional situation, it's not a walk in and pay for something situation, people don't necessarily understand what they're walking into, and so it's really good to have consistent policies so that everyone explains the same thing. This is how it works. This is what we do. This is what you can't do here.
I like riding bikes. I like riding old bikes. So every time I find one on the street, I come down here and try to build it myself. I come here because there's some nice young folks down here in good way.
There's a book out many years ago which should be really required reading for your generation. Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. The theme of it is to try to take charge of the mechanical things in your life so that you are the master of them rather than being the master of you. And the enjoyment you get from riding a bicycle, knowing how it works and knowing that you can maintain it, is enhanced quite a bit by your ability to do that.
You don't have to pay cash at all. You can, almost everything at Free Ride is available either by work trade or by cash, and the prices are a lot lower because they're used bikes and because people are encouraged to repair them themselves rather than have someone else do it.
First of all, I think there's a real sea change taking place in the consciousness of the people in this country. As they lose their mortgages and cannot afford gasoline, and et cetera, all of a sudden bicycles are not the enemy. I think that, in a sense, people here are fighting the last war. I don't think you have to convince this society that bicycles have to have a much more prominent role. People have started to realize that wholesale, partially because of the activities of groups like this, and partially because of what's happening politically and economically in the society.
Bikes are really great because they use a lot fewer resources than cars. Like, same basic ingredients, aluminum, steel, leather, plastic, but so much less for an individual bicycle. And a bike can last for 40, 50 years, you know? So it's like this tiny amount of materials, and it does use those materials, but many of them can be recycled, and it's a really long-term investment if you keep it maintained and repaired.
This isn't a city who's, I guess you could say, comprehending with sharing the road with bikers, so I try not to be on the street during certain times, certain hours, because people just drive reckless here.
In the East End, there's enough people riding around that drivers have just come to expect it. And they might not like it always, but it's just a part of life. It's a part of being on the roads in this part of the city.
Pittsburgh is not the least welcoming city in the world for bicycles. There's not a lot of awareness among drivers of bicyclists, and that they